Hello and welcome back to Rev Endurance Sports and another edition of what is in our stand today. Today I'm working on a squared bike I'd never heard of until just the other day. And the complaint from the customer was, hey, my battery or something every now and then becomes disconnected. It's Di2, by the way. And I'm having, it's intermittent. So can you troubleshoot it? Well, I took everything apart. So the crankset, the bottom bracket is out, pulled out the wiring. And let me show you what I found. So you have, this is the battery inside the seat post. Seat post. And one of these two is the culprit. So let's just see. No, that's the good one. All right, so this is the one that the retention just doesn't work anymore. So if it's just a light tug. So as he's riding, if he's hitting potholes and stuff, this would come undone. Now, this is the other side. And you can actually hear it click. And see that one, you can actually suspend the seat post by it. So let me now give you a view of the rest of this job, because I think it's important that you see what I'm working with here. So this is the B junction, as it's called, and these are the E-tube wires. Now, if you look at this E junction, there's 4 ports. 1 port for the rear derailleur, 1 port for the front derailleur, 1 port for the battery, and the last port is a E-tube that's going to go up to then connect to the A junction. And then the A junction has ports so that it can connect to the shifters on the bull horns, and then the shifters at the tip of the TT bars, aero bars, right? So, but, I'm always one of those people that don't like things to be complicated for the end user. So, for example, here, they've only got these small holes, got one, so they're basically at 12, 3, 6, and 9, right? So here is the hole, and hopefully you can see that in there, right? So 1 at 12, 1 at 3, 1 at 6, 1 at 9. So even after you take the crankset and the bottom bracket out, you're left with trying to squeeze or pull this out through one of these holes. Now just, if you would please, just kind of look. I mean, there's just not that much space. So it's just, I don't know if this extra sleeve in here is designed to give more structural rigidity to the bottom bracket area. Not sure, but it's just silly because, a lot of frames, this is just an open space. Using a press fit bottom bracket, you don't need any threaded cups or anything here. So this is usually just an open space. You press in the bottom bracket, and that's that. Anyway, that's what we have to do for this customer now, is put in the new wire. Now, what I decided to do with the new wire that I'm putting in is I decided to have a much longer wire than was originally installed. And the reason I'm doing that is because the customer should be able to pull out his seat post when he's traveling. So if we look at this cable here, it was barely enough, and the customer complained about it as well. He said, God, it was just barely sticking out enough from the frame. So, when you travel and you have to take your seat post out of your frame to put it in a box or to put it in, some type of bike case, you will want to be able to just take your seat post out and not have to go digging for this cable. So what I like to do when I build a bike is put this in so that when the seat post is out and the Di2 battery is, so you have space to disconnect it, then I like to leave about this much. And that way, just take a piece of tape this to the frame, and then when you get to your location, it's easy. You take off the piece of tape, connect your battery, shove it back into the frame. All good. So it's just, I don't know. So what I'm thinking is poor bike design here, then poor build here. They should have had a much longer cord. And I'm guessing that because that cord was so short, at any time it was just constantly tugging on it maybe. And then eventually this retention inside here just no longer wanted to work properly. Anyway, that's all for today. We're also going to replace some cassettes with a Dura-Ace cassette onto this race wheel. So I have a Dura-Ace cassette here, and that'll be something else. We've got some brake pads. Oh, funny little story. He has been living in other parts of the U.S. Last place, I guess, was Colorado. And now he moved here to San Diego, and he's like, God, I just can't get away from the hills. I'm like, yeah, I know. And so he's worn out his brake pads pretty quickly already, having moved here just recently. And they're worn unevenly. So these are not hydraulic disc brakes. These are mechanical brakes. And so what's happened is either a poor setup or they just weren't adjusted properly. So one brake pad has worn more than the other. And then the other thing that I thought was funny was that he had no idea that rotors would wear out. He just thought pads wore out, but rotors didn't. And I'm like, yeah, that happens too. So you'll have to be replacing pads and rotors a lot more frequently now that you live in San Diego as opposed to when you lived in Colorado. So, okay, anyway, that is all for today. I look forward to hearing your comments on internally cabled or internally wired bikes. What's been your experience? If there's some shop mechanics out there, let me hear your horror stories of bottom bracket designs. And if you're an end user, then tell me why you like hidden cables so much and hidden Di2 wiring. Now, those that love SRAM have a different take on all of this because the shifters and the derailleurs, everything is Bluetooth. So that does eliminate all of this, but then your batteries don't last very long. And that's the thing about Shimano. Shimano likes the longer life out of a internal battery, or I should say a system that's connected, wired connection. So, okay, anyway, that is all for today. Please like and subscribe. We'll see you up the road.